YouTube, I'm JT, and I did BookTubeAthon! I didn't win, but I made an attempt, and therefore no one should criticize me. So I started out with 7 books, 3 I finished, 3 I barely attempted, and 1 I am still currently reading. So let's start with the books that I finished. 2 of them were graphic novels, of course. One of them was actually a thicker kind of a hardback. I did The Islands at the End of the World for my most recently acquired book challenge. I borrowed it from the bookstore, so I wanted to read it first so I could return it to the bookstore. So that's why I don't physically have it on me right now. It was pretty good. I gave it like a 3.5 stars. Overall, it was a good story, but I feel like it took too long to tell. There was always that feeling that something was about to happen, but then nothing really happened until like the last third of the book. So if it could have just been like the first third of the book and then the last third, it would have felt like it was really fast-paced and really intense, and I might have enjoyed it more. If you're into that kind of thing where people are struggling to get home, I guess is their entire arc, then maybe you would enjoy it more than I did. The next book that I read was The Golden Compass graphic novel version, volume 1, and it was fine. It wasn't great. It was just the story, but nothing really much was added by it being a graphic novel. I just feel like they didn't use the visuals properly in this in order to make it seem like it was enhancing the story. It was just kind of like, oh, well, there's a bit of dialogue, so here's the person saying the dialogue, and then here's the next person saying the bit of dialogue. But there wasn't anything that really felt like the visuals added to the tension of the story or to the whimsy of the world. I feel like they could have done a lot with the way that this, alternate universe, steampunky kind of world exists with the visuals. That just didn't happen. So it was alright. I was a little underwhelmed. And then Morning Glories Volume 7. The visuals on this, I feel like this was like kind of what I was expecting. It's not anything fancy. Like, they're just blocks the same way that there are in, every comic. But the way that things are set up for dramatic purposes, it feels like the stakes are higher, and it feels like what's happening and what you're seeing go hand in hand, while honestly I wasn't even paying much attention to the visuals in The Golden Compass at all. The art is always really good, and I always really appreciate it, even if the suspense and the mystery of the storyline really pisses me off because we never really know what's going on. Finished this yesterday, and this morning I went out and got the next volume because I'm naive and I think that that will help anything. I imagine that one day I will get answers, but I won't. The next book is the book that I started but did not finish, which is The Song of Achilles. That's the book that I chose for a book that you really want to read, because I did really want to read this. I heard a lot of good things about it. I've seen quotes of it everywhere, and I've encountered some of the quotes in my reading, and it's just been very good. Hearing them before didn't make them any less impactful in the story. A lot of the reason why I wasn't able to finish this is because it's a retelling of the Iliad. We see like Patroclus's and Achilles' life leading up to the Trojan War, and now it's like the war is right around the corner, and I know how that story ends, and I don't want it to. So it's like every time something is alluded to what might happen during or after the Trojan War, I just put it down, and I'm just like, nope, no, I can't handle this. I just want them to be happy and everything is fine. But of course, that's not the way that the story goes, and so it just frustrates me so much that I know that I'm reading a tragedy and I can't process it. I am a little more than halfway done at this point. I'm gonna finish it, and there will be tears. There will be tears. And then there are the 3 books that I didn't get to. 1984 by George Orwell. It's a classic. My boss, the bookstore owner, this is her favorite book. I got like 20 pages into it. I don't hate it. I don't think it's bad, but I don't want to keep reading. Dystopias are not for me, and I keep trying to read them, and it's just not working out for me. I think I'm just gonna have to give up on this genre. Then there was John Scalzi's Red Shirts, which I was really excited about. I was actually planning on this being the first book that I read for the BookTubeAthon. Started to read the prologue, and it's like, I don't know who any of these people are. Like, I don't have an extensive knowledge of any Star Trek at all, but I do know some stuff about the original series, and I do know some stuff about Deep Space Nine, and this apparently doesn't take place during either of those. I think it might be the next generation. I feel like I need to be slightly more well-versed in Star Trek before I get to this, so I guess that'll be my next adventure. Of course, there was Airman by Owen Colfer. This was the one book that I was actually willing to sacrifice to be like, if I get down to it, I'm just gonna skip this book because I have other books to read. Didn't even touch this one. Oh, I almost forgot. I actually listened to an audiobook, so bam, 4 books. That's great. Good job, me. I feel a lot more accomplished now that I remember that I did that. It was just a short audiobook, like 4 or 5 hours, called If You Could Be Mine by Sarah Farazan. It's on my Goodreads. It was a decent story. It wasn't great, but it was fun. Yeah, I actually consumed 4 books. But yeah, BookTubeAthon was fun, but daunting. I don't know if I'm gonna do it again. It definitely gave me an excuse to start reading books again, because I actually have been listening to audiobooks and reading comics more often lately, so that's been fun, but actually reading a book is still good, and I've missed that. But I don't know if I'll be doing one of these again, because it was kind of difficult and it was always on the back of my mind and made me feel stressed and guilty. So maybe a less heavy, constantly going challenge later on, like NaNoWriMo. Ha ha ha. Anyway, I hope you've had a good day, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, YouTube.